Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that when we started looking for a rabbi, my board and I promised that we'd be transparent and that we would keep you informed in our search for a new rabbi. We also said that we would provide the opportunity for all members to see and hear from the candidate chosen by the search committee and approved unanimously by the board. This video, which you're about to see, will give you the opportunity to judge for yourself how highly qualified we think Rabbi Saunders is. Having said this, I now hand you over to Hirsch Rocklin.
What we're going to do in this video, we've asked Rabbi Saunders to do a number of different things. The first thing is he's going to tell us a little bit about his background and his educational attainment. Afterwards, he's going to give a brief sermon, which I believe will be on Parshat Shmot. And after that, he will do a bit of davening from the Shabbos davening. That will be followed by 3 questions that will basically summarize a lot of the interview material that we had the opportunity to do on Shabbat when Rabbi Saunders was with us.
I, like most of you watching this video, I'm also from the Northeast, but my East is way across the Atlantic. After I graduated high school, I went to Gateshead Yeshiva. This is one of the biggest Torah educational centers in Europe. I did my smicha, I got smicha from Gateshead Yeshiva, I got a master's in Talmudical law, and then I set about going to work. I got a job as a chaplain of a nursing home. There I was exposed and got to see people living out their end of their days, and one thing struck me, that there was a lot of people who had no visitors. Their family didn't live close, and I would spend a lot of time with these people. Some people I would play chess with, some people I would watch my whodunit murder mysteries, which I love to watch, and I noticed that just by spending time with people and being around people and talking to people made people feel very special. And I said to myself then that I wanted to make it my mission to help people and to make sure that everybody felt valued, felt loved, and felt appreciated. So much so that when I got the job as the rabbi of the Southport Hebrew congregation, which is on the northwest coast of England, a few miles down from Liverpool, where the Beatles came from, this was a more mature community, north of 55, as they like to say. And one of the first things I started was a friendship club. This is where we would go around in a van, pick up people who would be in their homes, bring them to the local old age home once a week. We would give them a hot meal, we would play bingo, cards, we would bring in a speaker, and people would spend hours just being around people and interacting with other people. After that, I got married to my wife, Erica, who has 2 master's degrees from New York University, one in Hebrew education and one in Hebrew and Judaics, and we settled in New York, where I became the rabbi of the Young Israel of Mapleton Park in Bensonhurst, near to Flatbush. Then, my wife, we were expecting our first child, and we moved down to Florida, where we have resided till today, where I run the program for Jewish education at the Hebrew Language Charter School Ben Gamla in Plantation, Florida. I also work as a rabbinical coordinator for Kosher Miami. In this role, I have to make sure that all our restaurants are covered with mashgichim and make sure that our restaurants are observing the highest kashrus standards. This helps me in my rabbinical work because one of the main smicha topics that we learn is indeed kashrut.
Thank you, Rabbi. And now the Rabbi is going to give us a bit of a sermon.
When we look for role models of Jewish leaders, Jewish rabbis, when we look for inspiration, there are so many people throughout history that we can look to. King David, the mighty warrior, King Solomon, all the various different kings that we had. You look at people like the Rambam, the men of the Great Assembly, who instituted the synagogues and the Siddur, which we have today, who did wonderful things. even rabbis of the last few hundred years, we can get great inspiration. However, we should really look to the top, to Moshe. He was known as Av LaNeviim. He was the father to all the prophets. He was the one who saw God panim el panim, face to face. So let's look about how he was chosen. There were no video promos available in those days. So how did God select him to be the leader of the Jewish people? So if we look in Shemot, let's set the narrative. Moshe has left Egypt. He ran off. They tried to kill him. He got married in Midian, and now he is a shepherd. He's out one day tending to his flock. He approaches near Mount Sinai, and there is an interesting sight. There is a bush, a thorn bush, that appears to be on fire, but yet the leaves are not burning or singeing. Now let's look in depth at the narrative. We know that the Torah is not a storybook. It doesn't just say things for the sake of it. It doesn't waste words. It is a book, a guide for us to learn, to get inspiration from, as how best to live our lives in this world, and of course to gain entry into the next world. Look at Shabbat. Shabbat is perhaps the cornerstone of Jewish life. This is what a lot of people judge whether you are an Orthodox Jew or not, or you shomer Shabbat. Shabbat is mentioned so many times in the Torah, keep Shabbat, keep Shabbat. So you would have thought that all the laws, we have 39 specific laws of Shabbat, would be mentioned and delineated in the Torah. What you can do, what you can't do. We find no such thing. In fact, the only way we know what is forbidden on Shabbat is by the juxtaposition in Parshas Vayakel of the fact that it says, keep Shabbat holy, make the Mishkan. So we realize, we can't make the Mishkan on Shabbat, so anything involved in making the Mishkan is obviously forbidden on Shabbat, and the rabbis learn out these 39 things. So then when the Torah goes out of its way to describe the events that Moshe went through at the burning bush, there is obviously a lot that we can learn from it. Let's look in depth. The Torah says there was this bush that was burning. Then all of a sudden, Vayomer Moshe. Moshe says, who is he talking to? Is he talking to himself? Was Moshe Rabbeinu mad? Surely not. The person who spent 120 days up in the mountain spoke to Hashem face to face. And what does he say? Asura nova ere. I'm going to turn away and I'm going to look at this great sight. Madua lo yivar hasneh. Why is this bush not burning? Is this some type of magic? Is this some kind of sorcery? Or is this some new age fire that doesn't need any fuel to burn? What is going on over here? And then in the next verse, Vayar Hashem, and Hashem saw Kisor liros, that he turned away to see. Vayomer Moshe, Moshe, my friend, come in, but take off your shoes. So what is this turning away? What is Moshe saying? What is God seeing? And the answer, my friends, I believe is like this. Hashem wanted to test Moshe to see if he had the skills necessary to be a leader of the Jewish people. As we said, Moshe had literally his head in the clouds for 120 days. He learned the Torah. He studied the Torah. He was a holy man. No man has ever been like Moshe. He had his head in the clouds. But God wanted to know, could he see? Could he notice? Is he aware of what is going on in his surroundings? Could he see that there is a bush on fire that's not burning? Is he aware of what's going on in his community amongst his people? Can he evaluate the situation, understand what he is seeing? Why is this bush not burning? And as soon as he did, Moshe said, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to turn away. I'm going to look, evaluate, understand what's going on. Maybe I need to call the fire brigade. Then when Hashem saw that, Moshe, you can be my leader. And let's look further at this idea of the burning bush. Sometimes people can be on fire, but they are not burning. When something burns, usually there's smoke, obviously, you see the smoke, and there's usually a smell. I live in the Everglades, and most mornings we wake up and we can smell the fire. There's a fire out in the Everglades. It's soon July the 4th. We all wake up on July the 5th, and we can smell that musty fireworks smell in the air because there has been fireworks, the smell, the smoke, there is a smell. But if the bush wasn't burning, then there would be no smoke, there would be no smell. So how would you know that this bush is even on fire? In fact, Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch says from the word balabas, it was lave, a heart. It was only a little bit on fire. There wasn't flame shooting off everywhere. So it's the analogy that sometimes people can be on fire, but they are not getting consumed. They appear to be normal. They appear to be the same. There is no smoke coming out of their ears. They don't smell any different. But yet they are on fire. They are burning inside. And Hashem wants to know, Moshe, can you notice? Can you tell that this person is struggling? Sometimes people are embarrassed to explain what's going on. They feel ashamed. Or sometimes people just don't know how to ask for help. And that's what Hashem was saying. You have to notice. You have to be aware. You have to care about everybody. What is going on? How to help them. Sometimes you have to refer them on to people who can really help. But that is the job of a rabbi, of a leader. That is the bar that every rabbi and leader since then has strived for. To be able to lead a community where everybody feels welcome and appreciated and loved. In fact, Reb Soloveitchik, who is known as the father of modern Orthodoxy, in his Sefer Halachic Man, paragraph 91 and 92, he says, what is the job of a rabbi? So you would have thought, like I did when I read this at 14 years old, to teach the community Torah, to tell you how to keep the mitzvot. No. He says, the job of a rabbi is to look after the poor and redress the imbalance of the oppressed. What? What do you want a rabbi for? No Torah, no mitzvot. Why that needs a rabbi is beyond the scope of this sermon. But the idea that the rabbi has to make sure, the leader has to make sure that everybody is cared for, everybody is loved equally. That's one of the main facets of a rabbi. And while, of course, I am not nowhere near that level, but that is the aim that everyone should strive for. That is the bar, the high bar that Moshe Rabbeinu has set, for which everybody needs to look up and work towards. Baruch atah Adonai Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu Elokei Avraham Elokei Yitzchak v'Elokei Yaakov Hokel Hagadol Hagibar v'Hanora Kel Elyon Gomeil Chasodim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chastei Avos Umevi Goei Livnei B'neihem Leman Shemo B'Yahavo Melech Ozeir U'Moshiach U'Mogein Baruch Atah Adonai Hashem Mogein Avraham Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Hashem Mechayem Meisim Atah Rav lo Shia Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayem Meisim B'Rachamim Rabim Samech Nofelim V'Rofei Cholim O Matir Asurim O Mekayem Emunasoi Liosheyenei Afor Michamocha B'Gvros Amida Melech Melech Memis ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמנתו לחיוס משים ברוך אתה אדוני שם מחיה המשים עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה וסומכיה מיושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נסיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני שם אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
Rabbi, what are your ideas and approaches to attracting new members to DAS?
Well, I think, as we discussed many times over the interview process, that we have to look at the housing situation around the shul, and we notice that most of the housing is 55 and over. So I would focus my attention on trying to get more 55 and over people to join the shul. Now, many people watching this video have obviously made the decision to come and live in Florida a few months a year and then come back to New York in the summer. And there must be many more people who are considering the very same thought. So we need to market the shul in the same way as now you are having a promotional video for me to be the new rabbi. We need to have a promotional video about the shul. We need to come up with a beautiful video that shows the shul, the community, what we have to offer, and sell it and market it. OU has a relocation fair where people can come. We have to get a package together for people to come down, to view the shul, to view the community, stay with people, and then hopefully we can persuade them that this place is the place to move. Also, I believe that we have a wonderful community. People have been very friendly to me. People are very nice. But perhaps we can grow the communal social idea. Like I said in my introduction, I believe people coming together, not necessarily in a religious format, a drasha or a speech or something like that, but just once a month movie nights where people can just come, nothing to do with religion, and just socialize with people. Or you have kosher night outs where you go to a restaurant, or you have a bridge night or a poker night, events that you just bring people in. And that way, the unaffiliated members who live in the area will be like, yeah, I hear there's a wonderful event tonight. There's a movie, I want to go see it. Or there is a talk by some person that we have got together, or there's a bingo night, I'm going to go. They're going to see the people, they're going to interact with the people, and they're going to be like, yeah, I like this DOS community. I want to be part of it. And then hopefully they will become members. So that is how I believe we can grow the shul and improve the membership.
Thank you, Rabbi. Could you please describe for us an adult education program that you would like to offer at DAS?
Well, as the title of the question is adult education, I'm going to describe a program that I would like that fits into education. But before I do that, I would just like to remind everybody that I also would like to put in events that are not necessarily educational, that are also social, and bring the community together and bring a spirit of friendliness and togetherness and a spirit of, I am part of a community. I'm not just coming here, sitting in my house, coming to Shul Shachris and in the evening and Shabbat, and that's it. We want to harness and fester a communal spirit. But as the title of the question is educational, I believe when I was in England, in Southport, I did a monthly shiur in somebody's house, and that shiur was better attended than the Shabbat morning services. And I used to ask the membership to pick the title, to pick what they wanted me to talk about. Because people only really are interested to coming to a shiur if they feel that it's something they're going to learn from. They feel it's something that they want to hear. And second of all, it makes me learn, because I have to talk about something that I don't necessarily know, or I don't feel comfortable in, and I have to go and learn and study and find what to talk about to come to the shiur. So on that note, you could have a weekly shiur, a lunch and learn, or bring lunch and learn if it gets too expensive, where everyone can bring their own lunch, and we can have a shiur once a week. We could have an Ask the Rabbi session. Not saying I'll know all the answers to the questions, but I could try, if I don't know, say, I will get back to you. And then people can come with their own questions, ask their own things they want to ask, they've always wanted to ask, and that way people are interested and people are excited to come because they know they're going to find something that appeals to them within this program. In addition to that, little tweaks here and there, like after Shachris, when everyone has finished davening, we can learn 5 minutes of halakha. We go through the Kitzur, or the Code of Jewish Law, or 5 minutes after Ma'ariv, not between Mincha and Ma'ariv, so people are not forced to stay. After Ma'ariv, people can go home if they wish, and then for 5 minutes, we can learn a Mishnah. So at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, we have added in more Torah to our daily lives. Also, when I came on trial, I gave a Gemara shiur for 45 minutes. Now, I know there was a lot of people here because they all wanted to come and see what the new rabbi on trial, what his shiur is going to be like. But I enjoyed it, and I think the community enjoyed it as well. So I think perhaps a Shabbat afternoon Gemara shiur on a topic that appeals to most people. Whatever topic, I'm not suggesting what it will be on. The community can come together and say, yes, we want to learn about Shabbat. We want to learn about brachot. We want to learn more stories, Agadeic Gemara, whatever it is, something that people want to learn about and have that on a Shabbat afternoon. I also feel it's important to empower people themselves to come up with something. So I know a lot of shuls have, for instance, between Suda Shlishit, they would have one of the members of the community deliver a 10-minute speech. That means each member will have to go away, come up with a speech. They feel that the rabbi doesn't have a monopoly on the Torah and on the speeches. They feel that they are part of the learning, part of the DOS community of Torah, and I think that's a wonderful thing that we should implement, both men and women alike.
Right. The last question. Are you in favor of reaching out and accepting, as participants and active members, people who in their personal practice are not strictly Shomer Shabbat?
Of course I am. Of course the shul itself and the davening is run on Orthodox lines. Of course it is. But the people that come, I'm not going to look at their social media accounts to see when they're posting, what are they doing on Shabbat, check their car computer mileage to see when they've been driving. I don't mind. To me, everybody is equal. Everybody's the same, and everybody should feel welcome. I am not the religious police. I am a rabbi that facilitates people on their journey, facilitates people to help them with their religion. But by no means am I somebody who will turn anybody away. First of all, that's who I am and what I believe in. But also, if you think about it on a rational level, if people are discouraged from coming or discouraged from attending an event, then they're never going to become more religious or more learned or come back to the shul, and you're just cutting off people from the Torah, you're cutting off people from religious life, and you're cutting off many potential more members that could join the shul and make our shul into a fantastic community with a lot of people, a lot of activities going on, and we can be the pride and the beacon for Jewish communities in South Florida.
Thank you very much, Rabbi, for being with us today. We look forward to you being the Rav at DAS.
Thank you.